Hey guys, welcome to Cult Film Review, the podcast where we discuss the films you love, but no one else gets, and we see if they still hold up. Tonight, grab your brother, stuff him in a basket, because we're going crazy talking about Frank Henenlotter's midnight movie extravaganza, Basket Case. So let's just start the show.
Your Hollywood system stole our sex and co-opted our violence, so there's nothing left for our kinds of movies.
I did not hit her. It's not true.
Klopex?
Klopex. Klopex.
Up yours, baby.
Me and Bubba, my little brother, listen to you every night.
Where in the hell are we?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey guys, tonight we're talking about Basket Case, but before we do that, I just want to say please subscribe to our podcast. Helps us out a lot. Comes automatically to whatever listening device you listen to us on, and you don't even have to worry about it. Also, leave us a review. We'll give you a shout out at the end of the show. I think we got one for today, so we'll do that at the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. And then tell your friends about us. If they're into cult films, let them know that we exist.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
What is-
It slices.
Yeah, it dices.
It dices.
Oh, yeah.
And they talk about movies they've never seen.
Yeah. But does it puree?
Can't
even talk.
We've been known to puree.
Yeah, we have pureed a few.
We've pureed.
I do a fine pureeing.
Yeah.
Pureeing? Pureeing?
I'm
that a
more of a
word?
fan of that cross cut. That cross cut. Was that what it's called? That?
What do you mean, like a waffle cut?
Like a waffle cut
fry?
Yeah, that's like a 2.5 as a waffle cut.
Yeah, it's not really even a waffle if you think about it.
You're kind of cutting it, but you're leaving some spaces.
What the fuck is going on?
All right, guys. So if you're wondering who's talking right now, as always, I am joined by Kyle Smith,
Cheers.
Chris Willenbrecht,
What's up?
and Michael Salustio.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So today we're talking about Basket Case. It's directed by Frank Henenlotter. He did movies like Brain Damage, Basket Case 2 and 3, Frankenhooker, which we have an old episode of. Go back and listen to that.
You can find that on the website.
You can just go to the website.
There you go.
Find that. And Bad Biology came out in 1982, had a budget of $35,000. It made a box office of ? Was filmed in the U.S., has a rating of R, and it currently sits at a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, we just ran that wave at 70%.
We do. It's kind of big this
Doing good.
time of year.
70%.
Yeah.
All right. So
We're a solid C average.
Yeah.
if you don't know what this movie is about, it's about a young man carrying a basket that contains his extremely deformed Siamese twin brother who seeks revenge on doctors who separated them against their will.
Nailed it.
That's pretty much it.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much it. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Pretty much basically it.
Pretty much
basically.
basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's
Sorry.
it.
This was this was Mike's pick. Mike, why'd you pick Basket Case?
I wanted to come back from 2017, be like, let's do a real cult
Come
film.
back from?
You want to come back from it?
We'll come back from 2016, I suppose. I felt like our picks were
You wanted to ring in the new year.
Yeah, I want to ring it in
There you
with
go.
like a real cult film. I felt like we were getting a little poppy, little pop culture-y.
What?
Just saying. I'm just saying.
This is opinion.
Female
My
Trouble.
opinion.
Jack
There you go.
Frost.
No. That, which is why what it led to me. Chris, you stole it from me.
What?
You stole a solid John Waters film, which is a real cult film.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And I wanted to be the first one to be like, oh
What
yeah.
have you felt like we've done lately that hasn't been a real cold film?
I don't know, Kroll.
You did it!
Just saying.
I felt like my picks have been kind of pop culture.
Yeah,
lately,
I
is what
feel
he
like
meant to
mine
say.
have been solid the last couple of months.
What did we do before that? What did we do?
What,
we
before
do
Kroll?
Let's not without
Okay.
without the holidays.
I
don't know.
Dude, I can't remember that far back.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
suggesting movies we've already reviewed sometimes because I can't remember that
I
fucking
just
far
wanted
back.
I wanted to do a nice, not a deep cut, but I mean like something that was.
I don't think it's a deep cut.
It's not that deep of a cut, but I mean,
deep cut.
It's definitely a like a real cult film. You know what I mean? Like something that
On whose scale?
On Mike's. On
Okay.
Mike's.
No,
scale.
I know what you
scale
mean.
I just
I know what
invented.
you mean. It's an early film. It's strange. It's
Yeah, yeah.
it's very offbeat. Like
you
most
go
of
down,
his
you
films.
go down on the street. You say, "Hey, you ever seen Basket Case?" They're like, "I think that stars
No one.
like Amanda Seyfried. I think that's an Amanda Seyfried movie, right?"
What's funny is there's a security guard in my building at work,
Yeah.
and we always talk about movies.
Yeah.
And today I was on the elevator. He got on the elevator. And he's like, "See any movies lately?" I'm like, "Oh, I just checked out Basket Case." He's like, "Oh, the one with the Siamese twin." Yeah, totally.
Yeah, whatever.
Ha!
Shut up.
They're so popular. It's so pop culture because
Yeah,
of you, Mike.
everybody knows about Basket Case.
Can we please follow up this discussion with is it a cult film?
Yeah, right.
No, I was gonna ask, had anyone else seen this before? Has anyone seen this before?
My first viewing.
My first viewing.
I saw it a long time ago
Yeah,
and didn't remember much.
I want to say that I saw this on VHS a few years ago. There were parts of it where I was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen this before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's got all those memorable scenes.
There's a lot of memorable scenes. What
There
are you talking
yeah,
about, sir?
Yeah, come on now. Are we already giving away our review?
No, I just said it's got all those memorable scenes. I didn't even mean that as a smart ass remark.
That's
there was
got
a
all
tone.
those memorable
Yeah, there was
scenes.
a tone.
There was some tood coming out of that.
There's
A lot
a lot
of
of
tood.
sarcasm.
Little tood.
Yeah.
An attitude coming out of you about the basket case. Maybe you are one.
Maybe
So,
are,
you know
two
what?
pairs.
Yeah. Is it a cult film? No, just kidding. We'll talk more about that when we get back from this break.
Oh, great. Last week you were in the dumbwaiter. This week it's keyholes.
Shh! There's somebody in there.
Well, I figured that.
You should see, he's got a roll of bills in him. Like this.
Oh, give me a
He's
break.
carrying them around loose in his pocket.
You've got 2 seconds before I start pounding on his door.
No, wait.
What?
I'm going.
Keyhole peekers. Cockroaches as big as dogs. Saxophones playing at 4 o'clock in the morning. And that crazy broad across the hall. Winos pissing on my doorstep. I mean...
Want to talk about the opening scene real quick? Let's just talk about that. We got a doctor, obviously, of some sort.
He's got a leather bag.
He's got a leather bag, so he's got to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have so many questions with this opening scene, too. So, obviously, something's out to get him. You don't know what it is. You know it has asthma. You know it can't breathe well.
Yeah.
And it's trying to get him. And he's running through the house. He's locking all the windows and pulling down the shades. Which was, I thought, like, it won't see me in here. It already knows I'm in here, but it won't see me.
I like that he calls the cops, and then when the power goes out, he decides to hang up the phone because he's going to deal with this on his own.
Yeah, and then he shoots the shadow 6 times.
Fuck the cops, you know?
Yeah, what a waste of bullets.
Yeah,
He was just shooting at nothing.
shooting at a shadow. It's like aim at the ground, bro.
Well,
You know?
He doesn't know that.
He doesn't know.
No, he
Because
had
that
no
shadow
idea.
is projecting huge on the wall.
Yeah, that's what shadows do.
And then we go to Times Square,
Right.
where we're introduced to the main character, Dwayne. Terrible name.
Dwayne.
Yeah.
I just don't like that
Or at
name.
least the eldest son from the Brady Bunch, I'm pretty sure.
Is that who it was?
Sure
I'm
looked
just
like
He
kidding.
kind of looked like him.
It did kinda-
it did
Like a
look
little-
like
he definitely had a Brady vibe about him.
He did. Well, and they even give you that impression as he's walking through Times Square,
Yeah.
holding the basket, and like the guy comes up and names literally
everything.
every drug you've ever heard. You need rainbows, poop shoots, laxatives, like everything, Tylenol, all of
He's
it.
like a regular walking Walgreens.
Yeah.
It was the Joe Dirt joke about drugs.
Yeah, it really was.
Like if you met him, yeah.
and then we're introduced to
You know what I'm talking about, the fireworks
Yeah,
scene.
okay, I got it now.
do you
Okay,
okay?
good.
And
Thank
also,
God.
I never got this. Do you think that was really the first hotel he came to, or that was where
Maybe that's where he decided his feet
his-
hurt enough.
his brother?
No,
told
I
him to
don't
go.
think his brother told him to
Could've.
go there. I think it is just supposed to. You're supposed to accept the fact that maybe he just got off the subway and that's the first hotel he saw.
Okay.
Which, by the way, just looked like an apartment. Like it
There
did not look
was
anything. It
apartments.
didn't look like anything
Well, you
like
know,
a
it
hotel.
could be the same. One and the same.
You don't know what they
Let's
look like
clarify
in 1982
to
New York.
People that have not seen maybe the movie, if you're listening in, he can talk to his brother without.
Well, they don't even know it's his brother
Yeah.
yet, but
They don't want to ruin it yet.
Well,
Yeah.
we already said
Yeah.
brother, so we kind of gave that
Spoiler.
away. Spoiler
Spoiler.
alert.
Spoiler alert, his brother's in the basket.
His
and-
brother's in the basket, and they have a telepathic thing,
Well,
as
only-
most
only
Siamese
one.
twins do. I think.
Yeah.
I think we know that.
Only
from
one though.
movies.
Only his brother can telepathically
Yeah.
talk to him. He can't telepathically
Such a
talk.
weird. It's such a
Well,
weird.
you know, it
it
works out nicely because then it forces our main character to repeat everything
Yeah.
that is unsaid, so that the audience knows what the conversation is.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
You know what? That's good. Technically, that's a wise decision.
Boom.
Didn't think about that.
Mhm.
Continue, Cody. I'm sorry.
but then when we get to the hotel is when we're introduced to our merry band of side characters that live
Yes,
there,
there's so many.
Wait,
Great.
transients.
which is probably I found the most enjoyable characters in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the most, but they definitely each had their own personalities. I loved the guy who owned the hotel.
Oh, I know. He's
Who-
one of my
Robert
favorite.
Vogel.
Robert Vogel. Yeah.
Vogel, something like that.
Yeah,
Vogel.
He was hilarious.
Dude.
Robert Vogel.
I was actually going to ask Kyle, can all the breaks just be him yelling people out of the hallway?
Yeah.
Sure.
Is
Get
what I
back to
want.
your room.
Yeah.
I'll-
Nothing to see here. It's like all of his lines.
It's a hotel, man. We can do whatever we
this
want.
isn't a subway.
Yeah.
And this is something I would like to try to figure out. Maybe you guys know about Frank Henenlotter films. Do you think he just kind of like casts his movies with big characters, and he says, "Hey, just bring whatever you want to it"? Or do you think that he actually has these characters in mind? Because I have noticed that about his films, is that his characters do tend to be like they're very different from the rest of the characters.
Like
You
the
know what I
side
mean?
characters, you mean?
Like the side characters.
Okay.
Like even in Frankenhooker, there were a lot of weird side characters. Do you think those are actors doing it, or do you think he just gets somebody and said, like, you know what, bring something to the table?
Well,
like bring something weird and odd.
I
Kyle.
think I think if what you're basically describing is consistency, then it has to be for Henenlotter like deciding this on like in pre-production, deciding it when he writes it. Like he wants these kind of big, wacky, weird characters.
Well, I think that's kind of goes hand in hand too with where a lot of his movies take place, which is New York, and you're getting
And the content of his movies too.
And everybody else, like I always feel like the main character is not really. It's always out of place in New York City in his movies.
Yeah.
And so you're getting these large, stereotypical,
Interesting.
surrounding characters that are New Yorkers. And
Well,
Was he born in New York, or did
don't
he
know.
just move there?
we should have looked this up, guys.
Because if it was that he moved there, maybe he's just injecting a lot of his early experiences coming to New York into his film.
Well, I will say that both in Frankenhooker and this film, they were both from upstate, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were both
Yep.
from, like, I'm not from the city, but, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
here I am, you know.
In the city,
Yeah.
running the city. Chris, you look quiet tonight.
I have a question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Was this motel the same one that they used in Frankenhooker? Because didn't it look...
It looked a little like it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't
know
know
if it
is.
is. I don't think it is, but it did look like it. But that's kind of like, I feel like his style of like
Yeah.
Okay.
shows you like trashy, seedy New York.
I have an answer.
Okay.
Frank Henenlotter was born in New York, New York.
Okay.
All right.
Surprise, surprise, everyone.
So he was probably just pulling from his surroundings, like a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff that he would see. I
He was
mean,
born in New York City. He wasn't born even in upstate or any like Long Island or anything
Okay.
like that. He was born in the city.
I read that he like spent a lot of time like walking around, hanging around Central Park when he was writing this story, like that, like to go try to think of ideas or how the story was going to play out. Like that was his spot to go.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe he was looking
Maybe he
around
just
at all
saw
the
a bunch of-
wackos.
Yeah.
And but you're right. I'm with Kyle. I think that Henenlotter already has these characters in mind. I don't think he just says, "Yeah, just improvise." I think because if you look at like a Frankenhooker, you look at Brain Damage, like they all do kind of have the similar types of characters in them.
I guess what I'm asking is it like a Gummo where it's like he was actually taking people that are already like that to begin with, or even like let's say Female Trouble.
No,
Well,
I don't think so.
I mean, going back to what you're saying, maybe he's just simply pulling from his surroundings, what he grew up around. Like, I mean, there's got to be a wealth of characters, quote unquote, that you've experienced in your time, especially living in New York at that time,
It's
in
just
the
that
60s and
they're
70s
so
growing up.
detailed
Like,
and they're not stereotypical.
well, that's probably because they're all based on like people he's encountered in his
I
life.
disagree. I feel like they're kind of stereotypical.
Or do you think he goes to the stereotype where other people wouldn't go?
No.
I think he's just. I seriously think he's just pulling from his past. He's pulling from people he's known in his life.
Because you have the crazy neighbor, you have the drunk, and you have the loudmouth hotel manager. You have the hooker. I mean, these are all people I've met in my time in New York. Like, in all honesty,
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's not like your romantic comedy stereotypes. It's not like your...
Do you
want to
dislike that, or do you
No,
like that?
I
about
like
it?
that. I like that. I like that his characters are in my opinion, unique.
They feel real.
They feel real.
No, they
yes,
do feel real.
That's a much better word to use. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you except for the main character, I feel like.
Well, that's kind of. I think that
he's the only stereotype.
If I need to make us, I think that's a good thing because that creates a good contrast. That makes these ridiculous characters even more larger than life because it's played against somebody who is, not a city boy,
right? But to say that he's not ridiculous, he's carrying around his deformed brother in a basket,
which is even more hilarious because the fact alone that he's carrying around a deformed brother in a wicker basket with him, and against the backdrop of all these other characters that seem larger than life than him, it means it's I think it's good writing.
As an example, the girl that he befriends, who's clearly a prostitute, right? She has this weird thing about her that you would think as a prostitute, like if you were stereotypically writing it and trying to cast a lot of blame on, like, let's say sex workers or whatever, you would think that she would be selfish. She would all about money, and she would try to take advantage of people anytime she. But what does she do? She's the only real noble character in this movie.
I feel like he has a lot of.
She sees that he has a bunch of money, and she tries to protect him, and says, it's an unfair world if somebody tries to take advantage of you.
Yeah,
like that's a unique. That's a different. That's a deep characterization.
I feel like he has a love for hookers. And maybe hookers is not the politically correct term. Lady
of
the
night,
lady of the night, whatever.
Sex worker.
But he doesn't write them ever. I feel like in bad lights that I've a little bit.
Well,
and
Frank and Hooker, like they're all addicted to crack and they go crazy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Explode because of it. Yeah.
Except for the one that you care about.
It's still an exploitation movie.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Is this an exploitation movie?
Absolutely.
What makes it an exploitation movie?
What's it exploiting?
Yeah.
What's it exploiting?
Yeah.
There's definitely some sex and nudity that it exploits.
No, I don't put this as
I
an
think this
exploitation
movie
at all.
it's not a horror movie. I feel like it's more dramatic than it is horror.
I think it's a horror movie.
I'd put it more as a horror movie, as a kind of a weird throwback monster film, if you will, like a creature feature.
See, and I got more of like a comedy vibe.
There's a lot of comedy
definitely,
in it.
There's no question about that. It's a dark comedy for sure, but it's a dark comedy horror film.
And that's where I was different on this one, like compared to like Frank and Hooker or in his other work. Like I didn't laugh through this movie like once.
Really?
Really? Well, at the hotel manager, you know what I mean, and the side characters, but not like I wasn't like hardcore chuckling. I was like, huh.
Well,
like, you know what I mean?
There are
like,
some things that, like, you don't have to, like, for something to be a comedy, you don't have to actually be laugh out loud.
No.
You know? Let me ask a question to everybody right here. Did anybody find the brother to be strangely adorable?
The deformed brother?
Yeah.
No.
No one found him to be a character like a mascot-y kind of...
No, he looks like the guy from Slither, what he turns into.
I didn't see that. I mean, I understand that the visage of him, like that maybe he took that makeup style or he took that kind of style of like flesh melting into flesh kind of thing.
No, I did not find him adorable.
I kind of found him to be like cute.
Nope.
Like in a weird way. Like he wasn't a fearful. He never like made me super scared about anything.
He never made me super scared either because
he was like the plant in Little Shop of Horrors.
No, not that lovable. Not even close.
Really?
Yeah.
No. All right.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think he was that lovable, but I do see what you're saying. You kind of like. I think because of the backstory that they give you on how this all came to be, and
is
basically Dwayne, right?
Yep.
He was born. He was born a Siamese twin. His brother is deformed, attached to the side of his body. His father wanted it removed from him, but it was against their will. So I think hearing the backstory about how he did have a connection to his brother, and they wanted to like stay together, kind of puts it in a different light to where you're kind of like, I can sort of sympathize with what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I couldn't find it adorable, razor sharp teeth and nails.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about like the whole like? Go on. Sorry.
And B, I was thinking maybe we get into this later, but I kind of felt like it was a little bit cheesy. Like I kind of felt like he looked kind of like he looked too rubbery.
He definitely looked cheesy as fuck. But
no, I know, but
that's part of the charm of the film.
Made me feel like it was more cartoonish. Like I thought things like him feeding him in the basket, like here's some cheeseburgers, he's like nom 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 nom. Like I thought it was like. It kind of had some weird kind of cartoonish.
No, I didn't. Well, that's what I'm saying. It gets you to sympathize a little bit because he's taking care of him. You know what I mean? They're a partner. They're a partnership. He's taking ownership, and then plus also the backstory that you get later with the aunt who loves them both, equally and takes care of them both.
Yeah, I'll agree with that because I mean I definitely felt like, especially towards the end, when you could tell that the brother, what's the deformed brother's name?
Belial.
You could definitely tell like there's a serious level of jealousy that's starting to happen because his brother wants to start seeing some chick and I feel like that level of jealousy is like on two fronts. It's I don't get to see my brother anymore and I'm never going to be able to have that kind of relationship that he's having.
He sure tries.
And it definitely it definitely made me feel for the character for sure. Like there was that moment in there where I was like, God, I feel fucking this is sad.
And none of the killings, we talked about like slasher movies, like this weird hyper justified reason for killing somebody. Like Crystal Lake, it's like, well, the camp counselors made Jason die, and then all the camp counselors from every generation now have to die because of this one thing.
Sure.
This one, like every one of these doctors, pretty much might deserve to die.
Yeah,
for making that decision. And they're all assholes to some level.
Are they though?
Who isn't?
No, I mean like. For making that decision to detach him from Quado, was it really?
But not even.
It's something sentient. Like that brother, you can talk about how it wasn't human, but you can tell it had feelings. You don't kill something like that.
Yeah.
Because
it was
like,
aware.
well, it's not like us.
It was
like,
aware. It was
ridiculous.
conscious. It was a living thing.
Do you think that's? Do you think that's part of the point of the movie?
I think it's the very basis of where this whole conflict is coming from.
The whole point
the
of the
brother absolutely the brother feels it. Obviously the Siamese brother, the one that's in the basket, feels that. Hanenlotter really cast these doctors as being kind of assholes.
No, they
not
are.
one of them comes off like a really
scumbags.
Upstanding doctor.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they are scumbags. But is it wrong for me to say I kind of get the point of the dad?
Why?
The dad?
Yeah.
No, I
did not identify with him at all.
Not at all.
I identified in the part where it's like, man, I got one normal kid that I just want to live his life, and he's got this
but the normal
thing on living on the side of it.
But the
normal kid is the one. Yeah.
The normal kid doesn't see it as being weird. He sees that he's living his life.
Well, wait till he goes out into the real world.
You know what? He'll fucking figure it out. It's not the dad's decision to make, especially after waiting until the kid's fucking like 14 or 13 years old to make that choice.
I'm not saying that I would have waited that long to make that choice. Probably would have made it sooner. I'm not saying that I would choose to kill Belial either. I'm just saying,
but the removal does cause death too, Belial.
Doesn't
in the
it doesn't in this rare case. That's why this movie exists.
Yeah.
In the doctor's defense, though, there is the scene where they show them like talking about this with the dad, and the doctor's like, I don't know if we should do this. This isn't a good idea. Like, he could die, basically. And the dad's like, what would you do if it was your kid? And the dad was really the driving force behind like making this happen.
Yeah.
The doctors did go along with it, but I think there was some hesitation.
Two of the doctors are all in. The first the first person that dies in this movie, the first 5 minutes of this film, he's the one that is opposed to it because he doesn't want to cause harm to either of the children.
Right.
So actually, his death is like the kind of the saddest. Like he was the one that was on like team don't fucking separate him. And he dies
not
first.
really teams that don't separate him because he actually does.
But he doesn't. He's not the one that performs it, and he's not the driving force. He's just helping.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the final
and the dad's helping too.
It's a very weird.
And they just put the thing in a trash bag and throw it out by the garbage. That was strange to me. I'm like,
that whole scene where when Dwayne wakes up and Belial is calling to him and he's like walking through like what looks like the woods. I was watching this with my girlfriend the whole time. I'm like, please be in a trash bag. Please be in a trash bag. It's good. This is as ridiculous of a fucking film. This Siamese twin is going to be in a trash bag, and she's like, no, it's not. And then it cuts to a trash bag.
Sure
like, yes,
He's not going to bury him, or he doesn't love Belial because the birth caused the death of the mother.
Yeah,
Right.
So
oh yeah, we left that part out.
Yeah. So then we get to meet the second Doctor, which is Dr. Needleman, and he's definitely a scumbag. But that's also where you get to meet the love interest of Dwayne, who is the secretary there, is actually pretty charming, crazy, but charming.
Yeah, batshit crazy. Yeah. The fact that she just picks up some random guy.
Did she pick him up, or did he pick her?
No, she picked him up.
She's definitely the aggressor on that one.
She picked him up, and she was one of the characters I also enjoyed.
Yeah,
I like
it's adorable.
Very, very, very good looking lady. I'll give her that.
Very good looking lady from
Was
Cody
that
Everett.
Terry Susan Smith, I think is her name.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, 3 names. There's a lot of 3 named people in this.
Maybe that's the secret to Hannah Lauder films. You only hire actors who got 3 names.
But I think that's also when we get our first look at Belial. Is after that when they go back.
Is
to
when he
kill
kills
him.
Needleman. That's when you get the shock, the light turn on, and for some reason he's stuck to the wall.
Yeah, he can stick
like
to walls.
He's a suction cup or some sort.
Weird thing.
Well, he can climb. He's got very strong hands.
Yes.
I mean, I imagine that's what it was, but he wasn't like grabbing onto the wall.
No, he was
from
like
what I
arms
remember.
flailing.
Listen, we have a budget of 35,000 guys.
Oh, speaking of which, I don't know if this is true, but I read this. All the cash that Dwayne's flashing,
it was like part of the budget.
It's the actual budget.
If that's true, that's hysterical. But I don't know.
I haven't confirmed that, but
I can't imagine what they spend just like how could he be showing the budget?
Counting the cash. It's the
Like
roll
what's
of cash.
left, obviously, not the whole budget.
Well,
though.
What's left is what's going to get paid people when it's done.
How'd you guys feel about the reveal of Belial? And not only the reveal of Belial, but some of the death scenes with it. Like,
I would say it was a pretty good reveal, in my opinion, because they don't give it away right off.
No,
at the beginning, and they do it in such a shocking way. Like when we did Child's Play, I had an issue with the way they revealed Chucky, like that it was drawn out in such a weird way that I felt like it should have been more like you build the tension, and then right when that moment hits, you turn around and then there's Chucky. That I felt like this actually did that pretty well. Actually,
I saw it coming.
No, but you have to.
You have to
know
see
the
it
brothers
coming.
in the basket.
But
his look.
I saw the reveal coming. Like when the doctor's walking towards the room with the light off. I knew when he flipped it on, Belial's gonna be right there.
When you're talking about like shock horror, or I should say, what is it, like reveal horror kind of thing? We've become so used to it. I feel at this point in time that like if somebody's like,
I mean, like jump scares and shit like
jump
that?
scares.
Yeah.
Exactly, I should say that. Like that like if somebody's in a bathroom and they're brushing their teeth and they shut the medicine door mirror, there's gonna be something behind them, like a ghost or some shit.
We're trained to know.
We're trained to know that it's there, but that doesn't make it any less jumpy because you wonder if it's gonna. You're still wondering, like maybe it won't. Like I feel
I love when it's not there,
Yeah,
and then
sometimes
it cuts
not.
to a close up and it's next to her. Like that's a real scare.
I think it was the point of it, but I found his reveal just because of the way it looked, like funnier than
I thought it was
scary.
I was like confused actually with his reveal how I should take it because I'm like, oh wow, that's insane looking. That's a loud scream. He looks really funny though. It looks like a fucking
I
like
almost
a flat
wish-
fucking blob, like a melted fat like wax figure.
That's what I'm saying. I almost wish he was a little like slimier or something because he just looked like latex, mostly.
They should have hit him with that.
I agree.
I'm also glad that you brought this up.
But why would
I
he-
can't stand his screams.
Oh
really?
my
I
god!
didn't have
It
a
was the
problem.
one. It was the one thing. It was the one thing in the film that like just was ear piercing and just gave me a headache.
For real. And it was over and over and over again.
You know what? Actually, that was like the one thing that I was like, that's a human scream.
Yeah.
It's a human scream.
Mike really connected.
Yeah,
he really
this film.
connected.
Did you have a Siamese?
Throughout the film, it does try to it seems like it almost tries to speak.
Well, that's the
almost.
thing. Well, that's what I thought was gonna happen. Not speak, but I thought that I didn't. Well, initially watching this film, didn't realize just that his connection was just with his brother until that was kind of brought up.
Yeah.
And I was like, it would have been, to me, it would have been a lot cooler if he had that connection with other people too. So they were hearing like what he was saying to them, and the characters who were dying had to react to like, whispers or whatever that they're hearing in their mind. I thought that would have been a lot better.
I feel like that gimmick is only good like with one character doing it, and it adds a certain level of like, I guess, dread, and because you have no idea what this creature's thinking or saying.
Well, that also said, but that's the thing too, is like it would add dread for the people that are actually being killed, because it's like, where is this coming from?
Yeah,
Who is this coming from?
but then you'd have 4 characters on screen repeating what he's saying to them, and it would have been like just silly,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
While I think it is very ambitious, what did you guys think of the stop motion animation in the film?
Dude, I loved it in Pee-wee's Playhouse. It was fantastic. That's
Get
what it
outta
looked
here.
like. That's exactly what it looked like.
It looked like all stop motion claymation.
No, it
yes,
did not.
it did.
Nope.
Yes, it did.
No.
It looked like it all.
They missed. Let's be honest. They missed a few frames.
Yep.
They fucking did.
They could have moved it the doll a little.
You know what? What do they got? What's their budget?
$35,000.
Bam.
No, I know. Honestly, I didn't have a problem with the claymation, or not claymation, the stop motion.
Looked like fucking claymation.
It did.
Probably
It did.
was.
Except like it wasn't really moving. It would look like they just took the doll or whatever they had, this mold or whatever, and they just had it move.
Shuffle.
Yeah, they shuffled it.
Yeah, I was better with the shooting around
I actually think it's like an endearing thing at this point in time. Because like, let's be honest, at this point in time, we know that stop motion's not something that's really used.
Yeah, you're not really gonna
all
see
that
it pop
much.
up.
Like, what are you gonna say? It's
Yeah.
like saying it's like seeing a scrim in old 50s movies.
Yeah.
Like, that's not really the background, but you know what? It's kind of endearing at this point.
Well, yeah, and that's why I said it's ambitious, and like I like that he did that because he wanted to maybe give you a little bit more from that character. But I'm a little more on board with like I think they were very creative with the way they shot him most of the time. Coming out of the basket, you could tell that it was always sitting on things so that somebody could be underneath controlling the puppet. You know what I mean? Like they did a very good job at giving you all of that. But then when those scenes came up, I was just kind of like, okay.
Do you think the issue with it then would be it's not so much the fact that it's stop motion that's happening, it's the fact that it's a creature feature, and there's these 2 scenes where it's shot in basically hard light, and it's almost not necessary, I think.
Yeah, I almost think they just did it just to do it. I don't know that it even needed to be there. Like, there was the one scene towards the end where they show it and his eyes are glowing red and all that stuff.
I didn't understand all that shit.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
It's his rage. That's what I'm saying. I feel like he had more. If you turn your eyes red because you're upset and mad,
I didn't think it was.
You should have. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, it has to be. What else could it be?
I read up on it.
Oh, you read up on it?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was his connection that he was having with his brother. Like he was seeing through his eyes.
It's representative of it.
I thought it was just anger and rage.
Yeah.
But it was it just came out of fucking nowhere, which is
it definitely did. That's the one part of the film I don't like. Is this weird? What seems to be metaphysical.
Like he definitely did some stuff that was overly ambitious, like the stop motion and the red eyes.
That's what I was saying earlier. It's like about him having maybe more psychic abilities that they didn't play up on, because the red eyes thing, I was like, it doesn't mean anything. Like,
I don't think the red eyes were supposed to represent that he has additional psychic powers. I think it was supposed to be, here's another way for us to show you that he is pissed off, other than a loud fucking scream.
Can't give him emotion, really.
But he does have psychic powers.
No,
he does.
No, he has a connection with his brother, and that's it.
But that's psychic powers.
Right, but that's still psychic.
Yeah.
You don't have a connection with your brother.
You don't know that.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm talking to him right now. I told him what a dick you are for saying we're not doing it right now.
It molests his girlfriend in the middle of the night, and he sees every moment of it in his dreams.
I understand that. But I'm saying the red eyes I saw was just another way for them to show rage, not a way to showcase a new psychic
It's
ability.
really hard to show emotion on that thing's face, on Belial's face.
I imagine that this was just somebody's face in a mold. Right? I mean, that's what this was.
It was a molded face, but I don't think anybody
You don't think there was an actual face in it? Those eyes weren't.
I think that was a puppet because those eyes never moved. Those
You're right.
eyes never moved.
That's a good point.
It's all puppet. That was all puppet.
The hands. Now that was Frank Henenlotter actually controlling. Like he had his hands.
Yeah,
in those.
right.
But everything else, I think, was just a mold of this
I thought maybe
creature.
it was like an actual face.
I was also hoping for, and I didn't get it until later on in the movie with Cutter, Dr. Cutter, that I was hoping for more creative deaths than what we got. It was kind of like the same death over and over again, I feel like, until Cutter.
Yeah, I still wasn't impressed by it though. Like okay, I'll take that back. I you know what? I'm going to totally retract the statement because the thing I did like about all the deaths leading up to it was the amount of gore and the amount of blood, and the cuts in the face looked pretty fucking brutal.
No, they did. They looked
so. Good. I think they're great kills within the boundaries of what this creature
can do.
Is capable of,
which is hugging.
Yeah, he's a hardcore hugger.
Well, tearing and biting. Yeah, tearing and biting. He rips
it in half.
But Cutter was a fun way to kind of change it up because you've already seen faces get slashed. You've seen that 4 times at this point.
Yep.
And now. And I thought that was really cool that he like just face planted her into a drawer full of fucking.
How can he do? He doesn't really have leverage.
Scalpels, like.
Well, there's a lot of that.
I mean, the physics don't make sense.
Yeah, the physics don't make. He sticks to a fucking wall.
Oh, and while we're on the topic of Cutter, worst actress in the movie.
Are you
dude.
kidding?
Yeah, she's pretty bad.
So bad.
Let's
fucking
disagree
bad.
with that. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about who the worst actor in the movie is.
The operation is successful. The most Dwayne will have is a nasty scar.
And the other one?
Doctor, I'm not even sure it's human.
No! God, no! Help! No! Stop fighting, goddammit! We're just going into the dining room, Dwayne. Now stop it!
This won't hurt, Dwayne. I promise you. This won't hurt.
God, no! Help! No! Dwayne, hold still! No!
Don't fight. We're only trying to help you.
All right, guys, we're back talking about Basket Case. We wanted to get in some of the characters, maybe some of the best ones, some of the worst ones. Chris was saying that he feels like Judith Cutter was the worst actress in the film.
Yep, I thought she was pretty stale up until the very end when she did have some range towards the end there, but up until that point, I was just like, oh my God, who is this woman and why did they choose her?
I'm going to disagree with him. I'm going to come out of the gate swinging. I thought she did a great job because from the get-go, I thought she was like such a horrible bitch.
Yep.
And a bad actor is not going to make you feel an emotion. They're going to make you feel fucking eye rolling. So she's obviously pretty solid.
I didn't feel that till the end of her.
I thought the worst was his neighbor, the sex worker. She was terrible.
Really?
As an actress.
she
had some heart to her. Like she definitely her character was likable because of the way it was written, but the way that she delivered her lines was god awful.
Yeah, if I had to pick like what I'd say is worse, it'd probably be Needleman, that doctor.
Oh, he just looks so scummy though.
Yeah, he has a look, but that's like pretty much it.
that
Like I don't remember anything.
lounge lizard
I don't really
look.
remember much of anything of what he said, and his performance was boring, I thought.
Oh, that first doctor was pretty bad as well on the opening scene.
Oh yeah, he was god awful.
Do you guys have a favorite character? For me, it's the hotel manager.
Yeah, that's definitely mine.
I love the hotel manager, and I liked Sharon.
The love interest.
Yep.
Yeah, she was. If I'm going to say like actress or actor overall, I'm going to give it to her. But like favorite, like the person that I was most enjoyed seeing on screen was definitely the hotel manager.
Same here.
Belial. No, honestly, I'm sorry if you guys all disagree with me, but I mean, he makes this film. I don't hate the Scream. I didn't really hate its character.
Yeah,
and I kind of do stand by the fact that I feel like it's just it's a dark, brutal cartoon character.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I felt like it was.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was a bad.
I would own a plush of this on my on my bed if I had one. If I could get a plush toy of Belial, I would fucking buy it. I'd put it on my fucking bed.
There's
right
one
now.
person we're leaving out, and that's our leading man, Dwayne.
Not a fan of his.
I kind of wasn't either.
I didn't like him either. Hated the characterization of him.
That bar scene made me want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, he does not know how to. I don't think he's been drunk before, because if that's him acting drunk,
And honestly,
terrible.
I don't understand how he could. I mean, and I understand it's like an exploitation film.
It's not an exploitation film.
It
It's
is
up for debate.
It is. I think it is. But from his characterization, why would he all of a sudden, even if you're drunk, let's say alcohol is a truth serum that makes you speak what's really on your mind.
Let's just say for a minute that's what alcohol is.
Because we're all on alcohol right now. So why is his brother why is he calling his brother a freak of nature? Like, that doesn't seem like something the brother would do.
Because I think they both know. I think that even Belial knows that he's a freak. I mean, they've been told that his whole life. So why wouldn't you refer to him as that?
Yeah, but it's not something that he honestly believes. Because why would he be killing people?
Because he loves his brother.
Dwayne? Dwayne is saying this?
Yeah, Dwayne. I'm talking about Dwayne. Like, when he's
Dwayne's only saying this because Dwayne wants to help his brother out, but at the same time, Dwayne wants a life of his own as well. Like, he's an adult now.
But I don't think that he sees his brother as a freak of nature.
I don't think he does either.
But he says it very, very, very adamantly when he's drunk.
I think he's probably upset.
And he laughs about it like it's a big joke while his brother is in this basket next to him.
I think the reasoning on that is because when he's drunk and he says he's a freak, but he still loves the hell out of him. But he can't ever have his own life because he's always going to be tethered to his brother. So he's conflicted.
It's like resentment.
It's a little bit of resentment. He's conflicted. He's like, I need to be there for my brother 100%, but I also want to do my own fucking thing, and he can't ever find the middle ground on that. So when he's drunk, I think he's just upset about his lot in life.
Yeah, it seems like a stretch to me that he would go as far as to call his brother the worst thing possible and then laugh about it while his brother is directly behind him.
Well, I mean, have you ever been drunk and said something you didn't actually mean?
Yeah,
but
it's always like an off. Like, it's never something like, who's fucking ugly as fuck, Kyle. Like, I don't.
You said
while
that
you're
when you were
next
drunk?
to me.
You said
no,
that?
I never would say that. That's
You're
what
a
I'm
son
saying.
of a bitch.
You're right, exactly. I would have been if I had.
You're truthful, but you're a son of a bitch.
I respect your honesty, but god damn it, fuck you.
Does anyone have any favorite scenes?
Yeah, actually.
Go for it.
I'm going to say it's my favorite scene because it was the one I found the most disturbing and the most... It was one of those moments where you watch a movie and you're like, they're going to fucking do this. And then they did it and you're like, god damn it, they fucking did it. And that's the first time Belial escapes and gets into the neighbor's room and grabs a tit. And I'm like, he's going to fucking...
Yeah.
They're going to cut to, he's going to fucking like fondle and rape this chick. And then on top of that, what does he do? He steals a pair of fucking of her underwear and is playing with it in the basket. I just thought this movie went there. It went where I thought it was going to go, and I don't know if I'm happy about it happening.
Well, and just to top that off is it goes to the scene of him pursuing Dwayne's love interest, and basically trying to rape her. And then just killing her because he can't do it.
Yeah. I want to talk about that scene for a second. I want to talk about the scene.
Do you want to talk about the lead-up scene or
lead-up scene to?
The bad dream.
The most what the fuck moment of this film,
right?
Is Dwayne running naked down the street?
Oh, actually,
like where did that come from?
Yeah,
that was just for me. That was a random. Like, I didn't give a shit about that. That was something I didn't even think about.
It was a what the fuck for me.
It was a what the fuck moment.
Why is he naked and his dick flapping in the wind? But then I also thought about, I was like, okay, if he's seeing this through his brother, did we ever see his brother clothed?
No,
unless you kind of basket as being clothed.
I'm simply talking about the film as it presents itself. It's very just crazy and out there with the concept itself. And then all of a sudden you suddenly get slammed with a full frontal jog down fucking Times Square or whatever the fuck. Like,
well, that's sorry, Mike, real quick. That scene wasn't even supposed to be in the film. They wanted to shoot a scene where Belial was actually going through Times Square, like running around Times Square, but they didn't have the budget or like the ability to actually create it.
They didn't have the time to move the puppet.
No, for whatever reason, they couldn't.
Giant gaps in stop time.
So
fucking time
this was the scene. Yeah. This was the scene that they replaced that with. Which I guess there was a van down at one end of the street and another van down at the other end of the street. Dude got out, ran, jumped into the next van. They drove him around the block. He did it again and again and again until they finally got all the footage that they wanted.
Can I say this? I actually thought and this might be a stretch, I thought it was clever. Because as I understood it, he was just seeing what Belial was doing and experiencing all those things.
Yes.
So after I had seen the scene, after I realized that like when he was grabbing her breast, that this wasn't just some sick like dream fantasy, wet dream that he was having, but literally like this weird thing his brother was doing.
Right.
I thought about it. I was like, oh, he was naked because his brother was always naked.
Yeah.
The brother he can't wear clothes. He's fucking a mound of flesh.
Yeah.
So I took it as, okay, this is his brother walking through Times Square, and he can only experience it nude because that's the only thing he knows.
And and I totally agree with you. As the scene progressed and I saw how the dream was happening and that I realized, okay, no, this is actually like he's just dreaming Belial's vision. It made sense to me. But prior to the rest of that shit happening, I just get
like
dick flapping in the wind flying at me. Like, I don't know.
Now this brings me to the moment that I don't understand about this film. Why does the brother start bleeding all of a sudden?
Is the brother bleeding or is the woman bleeding?
No, it's definitely him because when he pulls her off, he's cut off at the bottom. Like he just got cut off from his side. I didn't understand that.
What? No,
I didn't take.
You're
that
talking
as
about
that.
at the end, when he's on top of Sharon, and Sharon, he's basically trying to rape Sharon. Right. I took that as I was coming from Sharon, not from Belial.
From what?
From his sharp fingernails.
Trying to bang her, I guess. I don't know.
He strangles her to death.
Did we see that scene?
Yeah,
I don't remember him strangling her.
He strangles her with his
No, he
hands.
does strangle her to kill her.
Yes.
But I imagine that he was trying to fuck her, literally.
No, I definitely
and
feel
it
that.
created some kind of something.
As
friction.
I understand, he pulls him off of her when the brother shows up, and it seems like to me like he's cut from the bottom as he was cut from his side.
No, I didn't see it that way. I mean, I thought it was coming from Sharon, or I guess if you want to say it's coming from Belial, the only possible thing that I could fathom is that him grinding, like maybe like his flesh on his bottom isn't like. But no, that doesn't make any sense because he would have been all it would have been all fucking like calloused at this point from
left
like,
to your imagination, I guess.
I thought it was all coming from her, which is what made that scene even the more like fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
and
it was
like,
terrifying.
gross.
Don't get me wrong. Obviously, for the very sake that he has nothing to work with, and he's trying to essentially rape someone with nothing. I mean, it's a gross scene. It's a very gross scene.
I would say that my favorite scene, getting off of this, would actually be Cutter's death. I just found that to be the most entertaining part of it and just most imaginative as far as deaths go. So I just really enjoyed that. And then just her screaming with all the
scalpels, the scalpels sticking out her face.
I really like the dad's death. I like that he goes downstairs into the basement. And there's that weird buzz or like chop saw with all these yard tools strapped to it that comes down the ramp and chops them in half, and then the two legs just fall to the side. I was that's creative.
No, it's a good way to shoot around it.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives you what you need.
But yeah, exactly. It gives you just what you need. You don't need to see any more.
I usually ask this question in the beginning, but I'll save it for now. Is this a cult film? Yeah. Is it? Is it a cult film?
I thought you already asked this.
Nope.
Did you not?
He didn't.
All right, let's go it.
Go for it, Mike.
You wanted me to go first? Yeah, of course it's a cult film. Of course it's a cult film.
I picked it. Of course it is.
I told you I was picking cult films this year,
goddammit.
goddammit.
This for no reason, guys. No, I think it's a cult film because, I mean,
it's out there.
People that know Hen and Lauder know Basket Case, first off. You know? Like, yeah, Frankenhooker probably... It's this and Frankenhooker. Like, I don't know a lot of people, like...
I would agree.
Yeah, that talk about... Like, pick another Hen and Lauder film other than those two. I would say Frankenhooker and then probably Basket Case. There's a Basket Case too, right?
And three.
And three, that's right.
When he did all of them.
Yeah, he did. So maybe this might actually be his most popular film, just due to the fact that it's the most. It has a lot. Well, I mean, if it has 3 sequels, obviously it had.
Yeah, I'll disagree. I'll say Franken. If I'm gonna like order in popularity, it's probably Frankenhooker, Basket Case, and Brain Damage.
Okay, yeah, right.
But like Frankenhooker is definitely the more well-known one. It's the more approachable of his films because it's a little more polished of a film. But I think this is a cult film because I mean the sheer concept of it alone is fucking ridiculous. And then you add in the really fun and wacky cast of characters like that are supporting our main story, and I think it's got everything it needs to have a cult following. So I say it is.
Yeah, I would say it is a cult film as well. I think Henenlotter really took horror and sort of did his own thing with it. And like I said before, you see this style in other films that he's made, Frankenhooker, Brain Damage, so he kind of created his own world, and I think Basket Case was the beginning of it all. And a lot of the horror community really embraced this film as like sort of a unique, one of a kind.
That's why I would agree that it is a cult film, because it is definitely unique. Like it or not, it's definitely its own thing. Like I don't even know how you imagine a story up like this. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I give him credit on that part of it. And I think that's part of its appeal, is that people watch it and they're like, what the fuck is this? Because it's kind of what I said when I was watching it. So
Do you think when this movie came out, people were like shocked by it? Do you think they were kind of like, what?
No, I think people laughed at it. I think people, because it is ridiculous. It is definitely ridiculous.
I don't know if people. I think people seeing it saw the dark humor there, but there are still scenes that definitely make it a horror film, and and the rape scene at the end definitely pushes it to another level. So I don't know if people like just outright laughed it off as as just like a shitty joke film.
Again, I'm going to say this is an exploitation film.
I want to continue to disagree with you.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it at the end, maybe in our ratings. But I feel like everybody's already seen everything by this time. Like, I don't think that Basket Case necessarily ranks as like the biggest or the most shocking thing that's come out at this time.
No, it's definitely an original concept.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think people like it because of its content, not necessarily because it's shocked them to such an extent that they're like, "Oh my god, that's never been." I think it is based on. I think that what Henenlotter does, and I wanted to touch on this because we talked about it we talked about the lighting just a little bit, about how everything's not dark, it's light. And I feel that about a lot of his films. Like, even Frankenhooker had this feeling of that we keep calling it a dark comedy, but there's not really anything dark about it. It's just, it's taking themes that are grotesque and then showing them in a lighthearted way. And I don't know that I would say it's a dark comedy because of that, because even the deaths and killing and everything, it all seems very justified. It all seems very... It's not something that I would look at and say it's seedy. Well, not seedy. I shouldn't say that word. It's not what I would know as a traditional dark comedy, which is it's touching on themes that are taboo. There's nothing like what about it is like it almost seems like it's glorifying the violence. It's like showing it and saying like, yeah, this is the fun part of it. Hey everybody, let's all enjoy this together. Like, I don't see it as
I think we view dark comedies a little differently, because I view dark comedy, I kind of put a broader sense of the term, and it's like any film that deals with serious, dramatic, or horror elements with a slight comedic edge to it. That's what I view as a dark comedy.
But I feel like this is a big comedy. Like, I feel like it's a cartoon. It's almost a Looney Tunes.
Mike, let's say we rate this Mammer Jammer. What do you want to rate it?
Wicker Baskets.
All right, we're gonna do Wicker Baskets.
Wicker Baskets.
I will actually go first on this one, because I just want to counterpoint you a little bit. Just that I didn't find this to be funny. I didn't think it was a big comedy at all. In my personal opinion, it has the horror elements in there. I didn't really find it scary. The Belial's a little bit laughable because he does look so fake. But there is good things about this movie. It's a solid film in the fact that it's written well. Maybe the acting is not the best, but you can look past that. It does take you on some fun stuff with characters and just the weirdness of it. But like I said, I wasn't laughing. I would honestly give it a 2. After having this talk, I've lowered my score to a 2 for me. I was kind of bored with this movie. I wasn't really shocked with this movie. Nothing really disturbed me with it. I was actually kind of shocked to hear you guys say that you were kind of disturbed by some of it. I was kind of, I guess, expecting that from this movie. So I don't know. It's, to me, it's not one. I'm more interested in watching the sequels now to see what happened with the budget. So I will continue to watch these movies, but yeah, not the biggest fan of the first one. So I'm going to give it a 2. Kyle.
Well, we already reviewed Frankenhooker a while back, and I gave that film a 3. I'm going to give this film a 4. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was ridiculous and stupid and over the top, and I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I personally, and I know some people in the room are definitely going to disagree with me on this one, but I personally feel like this is actually his better film over Frankenhooker. Well, Frankenhooker does have the budget and have the polish. I feel like this movie has way more character to it, way more ambition, and I think it's just more entertaining. And it's a more, when you're comparing a sentient glob of Siamese brother compared to a girlfriend that's reanimated with prostitute body parts, it's hard to say that. It sounds funny to say that this is, I think, the more complete concept, the more out there concept. But I love this movie. I thought it was really fun. So 4 for me. Check it out.
Chris?
I had a good time with this movie. I had been wanting to watch it for a while just to revisit it. I didn't remember much about it from the first time I saw it way back years ago. And I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, I know I kind of talked down a little bit on the creature design, but ultimately, yeah, the story's pretty cool. It's interesting. I love the style that he's created here that carries on throughout the rest of his career. And you know, I found the dialogue very interesting. Like, I like the over-the-top characters. I like the backdrop of, you know, New York, like dingy New York City. You know, yeah, some of the acting was a little rough or whatever, but, you know, I can get over that. Like, it just, you know, the film was fun. I don't feel like it had any major pacing issues. It was ambitious for the budget that it had. He got creative, you know, with his shooting locations and how he shot the creature, and I love that he, like, I can't really say that I've seen a creature design like this before this time, and he goes on to use this same horror style in future films. I don't think I liked it as much as I liked Frankenhooker as far as entertainment goes. So it's gonna be a 3.5 for me. I think Frankenhooker was a 4, and that's not to say that the film was necessarily worse. It's just as far as being entertained goes, that, you know, this one just fell slightly short of that. So, but I would definitely recommend it to people. I think it is a quintessential cult horror film that anybody should check out if they want to dig back into some of the weirder stuff of the 80s.
Mike.
So we're going off of, at least Kyle and Chris have gone off of what we gave Frankenhooker as a basis off of this. I also gave Frankenhooker a 4. And I'm actually going to tie that up for a lot of the same reasons that Kyle did. Yes, there's no doubt about it. Basket Case is not nearly as polished as Frankenhooker is. But to shadow what Kyle said, it has that amateur's ambition that I really like. That maybe you don't, maybe you haven't put it together in such a way like a more experienced director might do. Put it together in such a way that is clear, but it has such ambition to it, and you know that he's trying really hard, that it gives it a little bit more heart than I feel like I felt when I watched Frankenhooker. This film does have a lot of it, and it has a lot of dramatic moments to it. Mm-hmm. Like when Frankenhooker, I didn't feel any sadness. I didn't really care about that relationship between him and what was her name? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Frankenhooker.
Frankenhooker. Let's
you
just
go.
call her Frankenhooker. I didn't give a shit really at the end of that. When it happened to him, I kind of was just like, good for you. You also fucking get your head cut off too. You know, like that's how I felt. This one, I really felt like even the death scene has a lot of drama to it. He's like, yeah, you could look at it as like he hung his brother by holding on to him, but I took it as like he was kind of trying to save his brother, but he just was ill-equipped to understand that he was killing him.
Yeah.
They got in a fight. He was too strong. He overpowered him. He hurt him really badly. They fell out of a window, and he held on to him like, I don't want my brother to die because this fight went on too long. And anybody who's had a sibling maybe has had that moment where you're like, oh, man, I hit my brother too hard or whatever. Man, I actually felt really sad at the end of this. This almost had like a Pixar feel to me. I'm not going to lie. Like, I felt
Dude, you
real
are crazy with
fucking
this.
sad
Yeah.
at the end of this film.
No, I got that too. I did
And
too.
and for that, it's right on par with that movie. It's right on par with Frankenhooker. So a 4 for me.
All right, guys, that's our show for this week. Let's give out a shout out right now. So we got a review. Thank you for your review. Tony95, he said, I've been listening to Cult Film in a review for almost a year now, and I absolutely love them. If you love cult films, then you will love this podcast. So funny, so great. Anthony.
So sweet.
Thank you, Anthony, for listening. We really appreciate that. Thank you for the review also, for taking your time to do that. That's really awesome. Do we have any other?
Okay, so basically we just want to give a shout out to the Den Archive because she has created something called Video and Chill Zine. It's basically a coloring book that you can buy for like $15. I picked one up.
Nice.
And what comes along with that for an additional $20 is you get a custom Burbs poster done by her.
Nice.
So if anybody's interested in picking that up and supporting, her art, you can go to her Etsy shop at the Den Archive, or you can
The Den Archive.
the
Yeah.
Den,
The Den Archive.
That's what her name is on Instagram for any of you who don't know.
yeah, the Den Archive, or you can go to @Video and Chill Zine to order.
Nice.
Is that a .com or is that just Video and Chill Scene?
No, that's all you type in. You don't type in anything else.
Yes.
Okay.
And the link is in the
I
bio.
made that up.
The link is in the bio, and you can find it all there. I haven't
Google it. You
I
can
haven't
Google
gotten it yet, but I'm really stoked too because as we all know, we all love the Burbs, right? So might bring it into the studio to hang it up in here.
Her
that.
artwork's awesome too, so I enjoy her artwork.
Look at that. Look at Chris just assuming he can bring posters into the studio.
What do you think? Do you think you just do what you want?
Let's be honest. The Burbs is our favorite cult film we've never reviewed.
It may never.
Yeah, we may never review it.
Because we all love it too much.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Like I said before, that's our show for this week. Thanks for listening. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram at cultfilm_review. You can also follow us on Twitter at cultfilm_review. You can follow Kyle at.
You can follow me on Instagram at cultfilm_Kyle.
You can follow Chris at.
Cultfilm_Chris on Instagram.
And you can follow Mike because he loves this movie so much.
You can follow me at Mike Salustio. At Mike Salustio, yeah.
All right, guys. That's our show.
And don't forget, if you want to check out past episodes, you can check it out at cultfilminterview.com.
Yeah, not all of our episodes are on iTunes, so we have a plethora
There's
more.
only 50 on
Plethora.
iTunes.
That word's coming back, huh?
Plethora more.
We also got rating boxes on there, so if you want to see what we've rated past episodes.
With actual images?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can go-
Actual images.
Actual
Jokes,
pictures.
Laughs.
laughs, and jokes
Gags.
on that site.
Things we find
Yeah.
funny.
Maybe 5 articles.
There's
I
about
don't
5
know.
articles on
This
there.
is insane. Just end it already.
All right. So remember, if you're going to join a cult, just make sure they watch good movies. See you next week.